Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm attorney Mary Kate D'Souza, the Chief Legal Officer and one of the co-founders of Gentreo. And today's topic is estate planning for women, and particularly in light of the post-pandemic recovery and in anticipation of the great wealth transfer. So this is a unique time in history. As we know, families are more spread out than ever before. We're not all living in the same neighborhoods that we grew up. And in addition to that, we have many people who have been further kept apart due to the pandemic. And what the pandemic has shown us is that estate planning is more important now than ever before. But again, many have put it at the bottom of their list. The reason why it's particularly crucial for women is that we are often in the roles of the family connector. We're the ones who are taking care of our parents and raising our children, sort of the sandwich generation. And consequently, we're more responsible for making sure that our family and our loved ones are protected. We also serve a crucial role in our family's finances and investments. So for all these reasons, it's very important that women take on the task and spearhead getting an estate plan in place to protect their family, perhaps their parents, and to make sure their children are covered. Some of you may not be aware that the greatest wealth transfer in history is already happening. If you see that, it's $30 trillion that will be transferred from baby boomers to younger generations by 2050. And along with this great transfer of wealth, a scary statistic is that less than half of Americans have a will, which is very frightening. We need to be protected and prepared. And again, how the women are the ones that are getting things done, and 90% of the decisions are made by women in regards to household financial decisions. So it's very critical, and that's why Gentreo wanted to offer this webinar as an awareness for women to understand the importance of estate planning and how it can protect and preserve assets and choices. So what is estate planning? Many of us have a vague idea that estate planning has to do with what happens to your stuff when you die. And certainly that is part of estate planning. However, what's often overlooked and equally critical to an estate plan is what happens when you're alive. Good estate planning starts protecting you and your loved ones while you're still living. And every adult American over the age of 18 who has capacity should have their own estate plan. Each spouse should have their own estate plan. Estate planning covers all aspects that you own individually that are not held jointly. If you and your spouse own something jointly, the title will pass to your spouse. But if you own something individually and you want your spouse to get it, you need to make sure you have an estate plan. There are real risks if you don't plan. Some of the consequences of not planning are that courts will get involved, and that involves legal costs, not only from court, but also retaining expensive attorneys. More critically, decisions may not go the way you want. When you don't have things spelled out and that can be enforced in a legally binding document, then a judge who doesn't know you or your family will be making these decisions for you. And no one wants that outcome. Another result of not having an estate plan is often increase in family arguments and conflict. When there's a vacuum and no decisions have been made, siblings end up fighting over who should be in charge. Whereas if someone took the time and made a plan, most fall in line with that plan. That's why it's very critical to have a plan made. Intestate is the legal word to describe what happens if you die without a will. If you die intestate, choices are no longer yours. Your property, your assets will be distributed per the rules of your state. Moreover, you don't have a say if you're a mom of minor children who should be the guardian of those children because you didn't write it down. So that's why it's very critical to have your documents updated. So estate planning isn't one and done. This is not something that you create on Monday and never look again. In fact, good estate planning usually involves annual reviews. I recommend you do that when you're reviewing your asset information for your taxes. And so why would someone need to review their estate plan so often? Because your life changes. This is the nature of life, right? People sadly die, people get divorced. At the same time, people get married and there are births and positive things happening. So your personal life circumstances change, but also sometimes the laws in your state change, and those laws may warrant you redoing an aspect of your estate plan. Also, your changing life circumstances may warrant a change to your estate plan. Say, for example, you task your spouse with being your healthcare agent, and sadly, you're getting a divorce. Well, you don't want that spouse making your decisions anymore. So this is why they need to be reviewed. The good news with a product like Gentreo, these changes don't have to be hard or time consuming or expensive. You're able to just go log on and change your documents to reflect what your current situation is. So what are the critical estate planning documents? A will. This document, as we said at the beginning of the seminar, is the document that says where your assets are going. So if you have a precious, sentimental, say a pearl necklace or a baseball card collection that you want to pass on to a specific person, this is your opportunity to put that in writing. Additionally, you also have the opportunity, if you're a parent of minor children, to express who you want to be raising your children if, heaven forbid, the worst happens and you're not around to raise your children. Finally, a will also gives you the opportunity to put someone you trust in charge of your estate to make sure the wishes that you've expressed in your will are upheld. In the majority of cases, a will-based estate plan is satisfactory for most Americans. There are some circumstances in which a trust might be necessary. Now, why would someone want to create a trust? A trust can be created while you're alive. And this is a document in which you say, similar to a will, what you want to happen to certain assets and who you want to get things. But the difference is you create it while you're alive and it gets funded while you're alive. So in other words, if you own a bank account, but you want the bank account to be part of the trust, you need to transfer the ownership of the bank account into the trust. So it makes more work on the front end while you're still living. The main reason why people choose a trust is for privacy reasons. When you go to court to probate a will, it's a public document, but a trust generally remains private unless there's litigation involving the trust. Another trust that Gentreo offers is a pet trust. Many of us want to make sure that our pets are taken care of, but you can't do that in a will. A will, the law views pets as property. So a will could only say, I give my pet to Susie, for example. A trust allows you to fund money for the care of that pet so that when Susie inherits your pet, she has the assets to provide for that pet in the way that the pet's accustomed and you want the pet to be treated. Again, kind of the tricky business with trusts is that they need to be funded. Creating the documents in a lot of ways is the first and easiest step. The trick is, what assets do you own that you're going to pull out of your control and put in the trust control for the benefit of either your pet or your children or your loved ones? The good news is with Gentreo, when you create a living trust, we also provide you with a pour over will. The pour over will is exactly as it sounds. It's a will in which anything you own by yourself at your death that had not been transferred into your trust prior to your death gets poured into your trust at the time of your death when your will is probated. So it's a stopgap measure to correct any mistakes that were made in not funding your trust. These documents, the powers of attorney, are the documents that protect you while you're living. And it's very important for us to have them as women, but it's also important that we make sure that our parents and our adult children have them. These documents, beginning with the healthcare proxy, also known as a power of attorney for healthcare or a medical power of attorney, is a document in which you appoint someone to make healthcare decisions for you if you're unable to make them for yourself. So again, it's allowing you to express in a legally enforceable document who you'd want to make decisions for you, and not some judge sitting on a bench making this decision. A Gentreo healthcare proxy includes HIPAA authority and the possibility of expressing what you want for life-sustaining treatment. It's up to you whether or not you want to complete that component of the healthcare proxy. But for those that have strong opinions about how they'd want to be treated at end of life, it's an important opportunity to be able to say what you want. It's similar to a living will in that way. The power of attorney for finances allows you to choose someone you trust to make decisions in regards to your finances. Gentreo offers you the opportunity of creating both a limited in authority and limited in time power of attorney. So you could actually go through and figure out what powers that you want to give your power of attorney. Again, the critical thing here is that it's going to be someone that you know you trust to manage your money and uphold your wishes. Lastly is a pet power of attorney. This is a document which allows you to say to your pet sitter that she's in charge, that she would be able to take your pet to the vet. You're able to express financial limits so that you don't get bankrupt while you're on vacation due to something awful happening to your pet. Again, it's your opportunity to express what you want. So why would someone choose Gentreo? Our goal at Gentreo is to make protecting your family easy, fast, and affordable. They're legally binding documents in all 50 states. We have expert coaches to help you through. A critical differentiator is that we offer secure and accessible storage because we want you to not only create the documents, but be able to use them when a crisis happens. We also can connect you to notaries public and partner lawyers if you need more advanced help than a Gentreo coach could offer you. We would connect you with a partner lawyer, and we'd also could connect you to notaries public to have your documents executed. The beauty of being able to store and share your information on Gentreo is that you can create what's known as a Gentreo team. This is your circle of loved ones that you want involved. And then you can share specific documents and specific information with them so that they could help you when a crisis happens. Finally, Gentreo offers you support in your time of grief or stress, and we also offer memorial videos for your loved ones so that they would have memories of you. This is what you get: a personalized estate family plan, including all those state-specific documents we've already discussed and more. Gentreo is your one-stop, your digital home to turn to. As you're creating these documents, you have support every step of the way, from the customer service, from the resource center, and also the Gentreo coaches. Once you've created everything and you've uploaded it and safely stored it in your vault, you're able to share it with the people that you want, so everyone knows where to turn to in the event of an emergency. And the beauty of a Gentreo membership is that you'd always be up to date. We have constant monitoring and easy updates so that you can change your documents as necessary for changes in your life or perhaps changes in your state law. The process is easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. You create your personalized documents, you store them in your Gentreo digital vault, and then you share them with those that you want. We're here for you through each stage of your life. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this webinar for estate planning for women. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to help you. Please contact us at info@gentreo.com. Thank you so much.